Hey everybody, welcome to Bitcoin and Altcoin Trading Talk. This is episode 14.
14.
14, man,
All right.
wow. We've been at this for a while, I tell ya.
It's so dark there, Will. I can't see the New York skyline. You gotta.
Yeah, it's sundown in New York.
Ah, boo.
Yeah, sometime I'll turn the lights on in here, and you guys can get a full shot of the glory that is the skyline of New York City.
Yeah, it's cool. I was thinking
it is actually pretty cool. You know, it's like a poster thing. It's actually 8 sections, and you can't really see the seams. It actually looks pretty good.
Yeah,
but,
not bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Wanted to spice it up a little bit in the home office here. So.
All right. Is that a Milwaukee Brewers cap you got on there?
That it is.
Yeah.
Coming off a successful season, right, Rob?
Yeah. Real solid season for the Brewers this year.
Yeah. Well, the Cubs are killing it this year, so.
I was growing up. I grew up in southern Ontario, Toronto, and at that time the Milwaukee Brewers and the Toronto Blue Jays were in the same league, so we used to play you guys all the time.
The American League.
Yeah. Wayne?
Yes, indeed.
Hi, Rob. You're looking handsome as always.
Turning into Pardon the Interruption over here or something.
I know. All we do is riff on sports for the first half hour.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, how are your Packers doing? They must be doing pretty well these days.
Undefeated.
Yeah.
There you go.
Big game coming up after the bye week against the Broncos.
That sure looks like Mr. Manning's getting a little old in the tooth. Eh?
Yeah, he's kind of creaky. You know, like.
Yeah, it's like he's throwing bricks out there, eh?
Throwing chicken parms.
You made me laugh. Way to go. Anyway, what are we supposed to be talking about here now? I heard that there's
cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I heard
the topic for tonight.
There's some big stuff going on in Coinigy land. We got some updates. We got
got some updates. Got some new stuff that we pushed out recently. I have some other stuff in the works. So yeah, let me do some screen sharing here quickly.
All right.
I don't know. I'm not prepared tonight. I should have had this prepared already. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. Let's see if I can share this. Present to everyone. All right. So, well, ignore this, but this is a new website we're kind of working on, which I'm pretty proud of at the moment. But, so had a couple new releases that are pretty cool. Wanted to talk about a few of them. The first one is actually called CryptoTicker. Brian, I don't know if you've seen this yet.
No, I don't think so.
No, okay, well, you're in for a surprise here. You're in for a treat. So CryptoTicker is basically just, it's a ticker for Chrome, so it's a Chrome plugin. Basically what you do to set this up, anybody who's a Coinigy member, all you have to do is click here, add to Chrome, and it's going to pop up, and you click this button would say add to Chrome. And then you have to grab your API keys for Coinigy. So in order to do that, you go into settings, my account, and you generate a pair of API keys. And then you're going to go into your CryptoTicker app. And actually I can't show you because I already have my API stuff attached. But basically it lets you kind of just check up on the entire cryptosphere, see, pricing and volume changes and a quick little chart for all your favorite markets on Coinigy. So you can do this pretty much, in Chrome anywhere. You just click up here at any time and there's your markets right there. So we're going to be expanding on this a little bit. Another cool thing is, you can go through and actually just click on a market and it'll open it on Coinigy right away. So that's CryptoTicker. We might, I'm really thinking about possibly, and I'm not sure how we could do it, but getting our new chat, which I'm segueing into, actually in CryptoTicker as well, so you can actually just have chat accessible through Chrome whenever you want. But speaking of chat, we upgraded our chat last night. Actually, we pushed the changes. Just a little bit of styling differences here, trying to make it a little bit more more 2015, I guess you could call it. More Hangouts-ish. We have 3 chat rooms now, so instead of just 1, we have 3. Trading floor, actually, if you type in here, it will actually show what market you're currently viewing. You can obviously paste in your charts, as Brian did earlier, and anybody who's watching live, feel free to type in there. General chat, kind of an anything goes type of deal, and then support room is like our group support chat. So Rob and I are going to be mostly monitoring this room, kind of letting the rest of these rooms.
Hey, you're talking to NASCO then.
What's up?
That's one of my students in the school.
CT-Pact?
Yeah.
I didn't know his name. Yeah, we see him quite a lot on the platform.
My people absolutely love your site.
Hey, glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots more stuff coming too. Another big change that we pushed recently is for those of you who are into margin trading, we now support, let me pull this up here. We now support basically the first step to getting margin trading on Coinigy. So what you can do now, for example, for Bitfinex, it lets you actually select which type of account you want to add. So you know, prior to this, what we had was basically kind of a catch-all. So if you put your API key for Bitfinex in, it would just pull all of your balances from all of your Bitfinex wallets. Well, now you can actually specify which wallet you're adding, and then that'll show up obviously on the balances page, and kind of starting to work on the actual functionality of margin trading behind the scenes. So we're pretty excited about that. If you open up, you know, a Bitfinex market and go to trade, you can see we have coming soon margin trading. This isn't functional yet, but we figured we'd give a little sneak preview. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Rob had an update, I guess, on the Google Sheets stuff.
Yeah, so I just wanted to show, you know, a little bit about some of the ways you can use our APIs, both our REST API and our real-time WebSocket API. The WebSocket API is basically for streaming data, and then the REST API is for interacting with your private account for trading and getting balances. So I'm just going to show you a couple examples of basically how easy it is to use the API and some of the things you can do with it. So the first one, like William mentioned, is an example using Google Sheets. And I think I need to change what I'm sharing here real quick. Okay, where's the sheets?
So while you're pulling that up, I guess I could talk about it a little bit. So,
okay,
well, okay, never mind.
So basically, this is just one example of something you could do using our REST API. And what I've done is used a script here in Google Sheets. And so you can get this script off of our GitHub site. But basically, you add this script in, and you can, you basically just add your API keys at the top, and I'll just have to clear these out after the program. But you add in your API keys, which you get from our site, and I think we've shown a couple of times how to generate those, so we won't go into that. But once you plug those in, it enables some functions within the cells in the sheets where you can pull your balances for various accounts that you have attached to Coinigy. And so the result of that here is basically, whenever you switch to this sheet or open this document, or periodically, it will run your function and it will update. In this case, update your balances. So I'm passing in, the account ID, and then I'm able to basically pass in a currency and some parameters and get different balance output from this right into the cell. So if you have, a lot of people are using various spreadsheets and they're pasting in balances from an exchange account or from their Coinigy account. And using this, you can really easily get real-time balances. It'll even do a refresh every time the spreadsheet calls the formula. It will do a refresh of the balance through your Coinigy account and then display it here. So that's just one example of how easy it is to basically use our API, and this is one way that we're providing to integrate it with a service. But obviously, with a little bit of development, practice and trying on your own, you could integrate this kind of data into all kinds of different services out there. So one other thing I was just going to show is basically a little bit about our real-time API. So this is our REST API. Our real-time data API allows you to stream data right through Coinigy's real-time system that powers our site. And so what I'm going to do here is just run a script. I'm going to change the sharing here real quick again. So this will just be a script written in JavaScript in Node, and I'll just show you a little bit how the code looks. So you can see here basically right above this, this is the same key that I'm going to remove, so I'll just scroll up there. So we use a real-time framework for Node called Socket Cluster, and there's clients for Node and some other programming languages. So basically you'd use npm to get that Socket Cluster client installed, and you include that in the page, and then you add in your API key and secret from your Coinigy account, and basically this code will connect, and then it will authenticate with your credentials there. And what it's going to do is make a request to our channels call for the WebSocket API, which returns all the, if you don't pass it any, like an exchange parameter, it returns all the channels that we have available that you can subscribe to for data.
So Rob, what exactly is a channel?
So basically a channel is similar to like a TV channel. If you're watching, a certain TV channel that shows, sports, then basically you're going to get sports all the time on that channel. And if you have another channel like a news channel on your TV, you're going to get news on that channel all the time. And so similarly with Coinigy, if you subscribe to the news channel, then the data updates that come through on that channel are going to be news related. And we have basically separate channels for order books and trade history for every exchange. And then we also have your favorites on one feed, and the chat messages are on a feed, on a channel. So all those different channels are available for you to subscribe to and consume that real-time data just like we do for your own applications. So this is just an example. It's going to basically loop through each of the channels that's returned from the channel call, and it's going to subscribe to that. And a lot of this you can find also some examples in the Socket Cluster documentation as well. And we'll be releasing documentation very soon also. But basically, a watch function is what handles this data when it comes through on one of these channels. So if you're watching on a channel, when new data comes in, whatever you put right in this part here is what you're going to do with that data. In this case, we're just going to print it to the screen. So it's going to go through each channel and subscribe and say whenever a message comes in, just print it to the screen from this channel. And so I have this running already because it takes a little while. I kind of metered the subscription so it doesn't, hammer the server too hard. Well, of course.
At least not while we're on the webinar. So.
Yeah. And it crashed as well. So let me just fire it up here. So you can see this where these are printing along the bottom. Those are channels that it's subscribing to. And in the meantime, some of the channels it has already subscribed to are also pumping in data already. So that's what a lot of this other stuff is, order books and ticker favorites. And you can see here it's going through the market sort of alphabetically, basically. It's subscribing.
Yeah, so just to summarize this, I guess, too, I mean, what this is a script that is showing everything that's going through Coinigy, basically.
Right.
Every point of data in real time. However, it looks like there's an issue with Rob's authentication or something. But
well, it takes a while because we're doing so many channels so fast. It takes a while for the authentication to catch up as we're looping through here. So it's a side effect. Basically, as it would build up, you would see it really start to roll through as it goes. But so it's just an example, though, of how easy it is to get the data right into Node, and then basically from there you can obviously parse it apart as JSON and do anything you want with the data, whether it's for a trading bot or for integrating into your own website or your own service or integrating with some other third-party application. It really is easy. That spreadsheets thing, one of our users asked me to take a look at it and just see if it was possible to do that using an example that they already had. And it only took about an hour and a half, basically, to finish that out so that it was working the way it is now, where you can pull various data in from your account. So it is pretty easy, and it uses standard methods that you're used to working with on the web. And so I hope you guys will check it out, and we'd love to see some of the different cool things that you guys think up and create.
Yeah, check out github.com/Coinigy. We have some documentation up there, and pretty excited about it. So
yeah, some examples and.
Yep, yeah, and in fact, CryptoTicker, the Chrome extension, uses our WebSockets API as well. And if you want to see kind of a client-side example in JavaScript, just take a look at that code, because that's actually just connecting to WebSockets basically as if it was in a browser. So that's a good example there. So yeah, I think that's kind of it for Coinigy updates for this week. Got some cool stuff coming in the near future, and I'm sure Brian's asleep now.
No way, man. Watching very intently. I didn't understand half of what you said, but hey, it sure was.
Well, that's okay. That was just a little slice for the developers in the audience for today.
Yeah, no. Well, and that's just it, right? A huge part of our audience. That's what you just were talking about, is music to their ears. So, and like I said, I think what would be really cool is to watch all the, I wouldn't be surprised if stuff comes out of this that you never even least expected, just because that's part of the beauty of this human experience, So I look forward with bated breath too. Like some of the stuff I see coming out on a daily basis, it's just like, wow. I think. There was one. There's just one gentleman who on my. Actually, JC, he's been on the show once or twice, so you probably.
Yeah, we know JC.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was pointing out. I honestly believe by the time the end of this sort of cryptocurrency revolution sort of plays itself out, I really wouldn't be surprised if every human, that gets issued a social security number or a social insurance number or anything like that, gets their own, coin, and it sort of tracks their life. That really wouldn't surprise me. But anyway, well, only time will tell. And what's cool is you guys are actually, if there was going to be a history of crypto, you guys are like going to be right in there. You're going to be right in the story. So I love that. It's so awesome. So, way to go, Coinigy.
Pulling at my heartstrings.
Well, that's good. Hey. All right, so are we ready to do some TA?
Let's do it.
So. I think that's what that's
what we're here for.
Really been waiting for.
Hey, man. Enough
with this Coinigy BS.
I come here to see that beautiful face every 2 weeks, Rob. Look at that smile, eh? I mean,
Yeah,
that's $1 million
I put
smile.
it on just for you,
There
Brian.
you go, right? You're the man. So, all right, let's see what we got here. All right, so as sort of regular, and seems to be the path that I seem to like to take with these. I'm not quite sure why. But at the beginning of the day, I noticed that Will adverts that we're going to do a show later on in the day, and a bunch of people retweet it and stuff. And then just as the responses come in, I just sort of pick and choose the coins that we're going to do through the day. So by all means, if you are watching this and you haven't subscribed to either myself or Coinigy, but you would like to have a coin reviewed, that is the easiest way to do it. Just get in this stream, and then we're more than happy to entertain your requests. Got quite a few requests, and we also, unfortunately, it was a great interview, and I really appreciate the time that gentleman spent with us. But we didn't actually get to review many of the coins that were actually requested. So by all means, if you didn't have your coin reviewed, the old adage, right? The squeaky wheel gets the grease. So by all means, get back to me and let me know. Hey, Brian, you forgot to do this one, and I was really looking forward to it. So that's just a word to the audience, I suppose. We're running our little altcoin account, just having a lot of fun. You guys need to understand, I have like 7 pages of open orders here. So I'm constantly working orders as well. I'm constantly in there buying and selling stuff. So, we're very, very active on a regular basis. And really my general feeling is if you want to sort of follow along my strategy, it's going to mean that you're going to need to work a bunch of orders. You're also probably going to be on multiple exchanges. And that's one thing that I really like about Coinigy is we can see the whole shooting match at one glance, right? Really a beautiful platform.
Still love that. Looks like a core sample or something.
Well, it's interesting because you notice that we had one, this Ruby was a big sort of percentage, right? And it got whacked here recently, and so now it's come back down into the fold, right? This is really how a portfolio, if I was running, should look like. I don't want any one coin to be any really sort of standout. I'd really like them all to be sort of equal. And then, of course, this is sort of our cash proxy. Basically, we're sitting in 25% cash right now. And if there are any good ideas coming out of tonight's show, I might just go and spend some of this quote-unquote cash. So we had a list of 5 coins that I think we'll get to. In fact, here, why don't we start at, first one I wanted to talk about, and really I just want to throw it out to the community. I'm really interested in this BYC. You guys can see where it came from. It sure has cratered here. And it came down, and it had a nice little dead cat bounce, and it sort of settled down nicely. And I really like what I'm seeing developing here. And I was just curious, did either of you boys, Will or Rob, did you have a chance just to look into the background of this thing, BYC?
No, I didn't, but I do recall, I think we reviewed this previously, did we not?
And that's
I want to say it's like Byte Cent, I think is the name of that one.
Somebody on the site had said, hey, pay attention. And this is the funny thing, right? I actually somebody had posted the chart in our site chat room, and I looked at it, and I saw this sort of price action. Can you guys see how we got sort of like W's happening here?
Mm-hmm.
Where they're trying to drive price down, but it just doesn't seem to want to go any lower. Then it's actually starting to try and work its way back up, back down again, and now it's starting to work its way back up here. I kind of like what I'm seeing here. And it's kind of a funny anecdote, right? Somebody in the chat room was like, hey, take a look at this one. It's starting to turn here. And I literally was in the chat room. I was like, you know what? I'd be willing to just go and buy some. Then I looked in the account. No, I actually did buy some right off of this level. So, people that are watching the show and are like, I wonder what he's interested in. What would he actually be buying right now? There's not a heck of a lot I am buying. But this is an example of a coin that I think is worth a shot here. And I've gone and done a little bit of nibbling. So, maybe do some due diligence on your own. BYC, take a look at it, take a look at the name. Maybe look at the story behind it. I kind of like this trade location in here. It's kind of moving away from where I'd like to be a buyer. You can see where I did buy it. This is sort of my, this is a recent trade that I've done. And I like to, you guys in the Coinigy world to know, and, anybody watching this video, what I'm actually buying. A lot of the time I do a lot of the reviews of these coins, but we never actually talk about what is I'm actually buying right now. So there's an idea for you. I think I even sort of just put that in that I kind of wanted to mention that. Simple principles that we like to follow and that we've sort of done tutorials for you here on the site. This 61.8 to 78.6 level is often what's called the reload zone. And I like the fact, that, if these are the bottoms, and frankly speaking, we just don't know. But if they are the bottoms, what's a realistic sort of working a way higher? Believe it or not, using this exact same principle that I would buy if this rally came back down, well, believe it or not, I can actually realistically think about this as an upside target. So buying at these levels, basically let's call it 2,500. I'm looking for like 14,000, 15,000. That's not bad risk reward. Even if you just went and bought some, and you're not going to bet the farm. I teach people not to risk more than 5% of their portfolio on any one single play, and we'll actually get to an example later on of one that hasn't worked, and so how taking that strategy of not risking more than 5% of your money on any one single play really saves your bacon when your analysis maybe doesn't work. But this, in my opinion, is an excellent place to have $5 out of 100 in your little altcoin portfolio, working right here, and just looking to spoon feed the market coin as it works its way higher. We've
seen this time and again with these altcoins, similar patterns to this, Brian. Hey, where it just bottoms out for a long time like that and stays in a pretty narrow range, and then you can pick up 4 or 5 doublers pretty easily over the course of a couple months.
Yeah. Or even within like a 3-day period, it'll just go sky high.
I mean, I could probably rattle off a half dozen coins just off the top of my head that we've watched that have done this same kind of pattern right here that we're seeing.
A coincidence?
And they popped into that zone that you targeted there, even though it is, unrealistic to comprehend when you're a traditional investor. But it is definitely possible in these altcoin markets.
Well, here's the key, and this is I find hilarious, right? Keep in mind, I've been doing this an awfully long time, right? And I have we're coming into, in stock market land, what we call tax loss selling season. And there is in the junior, like the venture cap stock market, a very specific time of year that if you want to play that market, you should be a buyer, of course, when everybody else is selling tax losses, right? Mm-hmm. That's an excellent anecdote on just our life, right? Technically, you want to be a buyer when others are selling, and you want to be a seller when others are buying, right? And so what ends up happening here, and I found this hilarious, is now, especially a lot of people that are just in the introductory program, and they come at my school, let's say, from a crypto background, and I post all these tax loss charts, right, and these stocks that are just cratered, and they're starting to turn, and time again, these people are like, wow, that looks just like an altcoin. And I would say, maybe altcoins are acting very much like a classic venture capital name. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
I mean, the irony of all of this is this is nothing more than a graphical representation of our collective perception of value. That's all this is. Doesn't matter whether it's a stock, a commodity, a currency, an altcoin, right, that actually has, we can convert this into money. So really what you're really looking at is human behavior is very repetitive. Does that make sense, Rob?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
What
Yeah, and
we're
it's interesting
actually
because it's almost even at a more raw level with altcoins and cryptos. Because
well,
a lot of them,
I
there's
can
not
show you
much
some
to.
I can show you some venture cap stocks that'll make your hair curl.
Well,
Trust me.
sure, but I mean, venture cap stocks have profit and loss sheets, and certain things
Well,
to
okay,
be
but
held
there's the kick
accountable
in the
for.
pants. That's what you would think, right? Now, keep in mind, a lot of venture cap markets, they have no legal obligation to tell you the truth.
Right, that's true. That's very true.
So, and what a coincidence, crypto market is rather unregulated, and these people don't have any legal obligation to tell you the truth. So again, ironically enough, you want to say stocks, you want to say earnings, you want to say balance sheet, you want to say corporate profits, blah blah blah. What I would say, and the great part for you guys, the fact that you built this platform and basically TA is your bread and butter, is that this is just a reflection of our human perception of value. Doesn't matter what the asset is. And as Rob pointed out, gee whiz, this pattern just sure keeps repeating itself, doesn't it? This is the way we humans act. It's really cool because if you can, we were just doing this for the level oneers. We just did the introduction to fibs and harmonics. Really what we're looking at is the matrix. You have to understand what it is you're actually looking at, but if you understand what you're looking at the matrix of our universe. Cool, eh?
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to on task here. Sorry, I got a little philosophical there. So, good example of a coin that I'd be interested in. I'm willing to throw a little bit of money at it. I like what I see here, and I think my prospects for making more money down the road are pretty good. Okay, let's go on to coin number 2. Actually, somebody, I don't think we're gonna do Geo right now because we've talked a heck of a lot about it.
Yeah, we've kind
haven't
of
we?
beat Geo to death. I think
Yeah.
maybe we'll give it another 2 weeks or so.
I mean, the simple message: market structure looks good, higher highs and higher lows. I see positives here. This is where I'm long. Yada yada yada. Okay. Next coin on the block, Digi, and we were just talking about this, weren't we? Because Digi was doing exactly what other coins have done that we sort of talk about, right? And Digi was a great example of a coin where a couple, sort of key things that we do that kept us out of trouble here, and really, because we approached the market in a certain way, we really didn't have to worry too much. So, Digi had a big run up, and this is a tweet that I put out last spring. Had a big run up, and we can see market structure in here. We can see horizontal support and resistance. Looks like smart money's long here. Woohoo! Big rally, right? We started watching it here, and we were kind of like, well, where should we think about buying? And here is our reload zone. Can you guys see that? The green box.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I kind of sat in that zone for quite a while.
Well, I'll let the story as it unfolds is really cool, and this is why in the mention tonight, even when somebody asked about it, I said, well, we have quite a history here, so that's why I really kind of wanted to look at this, and this is really this is a hallmark of the way I look at venture capital. So, the very simple message is you can't chase the market up here, and you can't really consider buying here. But once we start getting down into what I like to call the reload zone, or the 61.8 to 78.6 fib, what we're really doing here, if we're thinking about buying, is a range strategy, right? Where we're basically saying, look, this is the bottom of the range, this is the top of the range. I know, and let's see if you can remember, did you ever get this far in the course, Will? How often markets range versus trending? Did you get that far?
That does ring a bell, but I couldn't tell you the answer.
Is it 80-20?
Information
right. Well, Rob knows it, and maybe we've talked about it before. So
You've mentioned it in this program, I think, quite a while ago.
So the simple message here is that if we look at this as a ranging market, right, and we look to buy at the midpoint, you know, and here 70.5% is kind of a funny number I like to watch. Maybe we should change that to yellow so you guys can actually see it. 70.5, we'll make that yellow. All right, so there it is there, right?
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, boom. And that's 48 ticks, right? If we, and keep in mind the thing topped out at 150 ticks. So that's quite a ways off of the highs. If we look to buy this 48 ticks, then what we're really saying about a range is if this market ranges 80% of the time, there, you know, let's say 75, right? Then what that means is this low will hold, and the market should revisit the top end of this range 80% of the time. And so if I just take that simple philosophy where if I'm going to buy at the 70.5, I'm going to risk down to the bottom. And in this case, it's 6 ticks, and we're buying at 48. So that's why I said let's take the little old lady approach to risk management. She simply takes 5% of her stake, or what she's got to work with, and she puts it into a name. 5%, boom. If this thing goes to 5 ticks, basically consider it a tax loss write-off sell, right? You know, as Rob pointed out earlier, we easily see more than 50% of the time when we buy this 70.5 level, we do see a revisit of these highs before we see these lows taken out. So, great anatomy of a trade in that. You guys ready? Do, 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 do. We bought here. Oh my God, we're getting killed. Do, 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 do. It's getting worse. Oh my God, we're getting cratered here. Do, do, do. It's getting pretty bad, eh? Do, do, do.
I'm getting nervous.
Right now, well.
That's that game with the yodeling elf on The Price is Right.
Exactly. That's right. That's
This
what
is
I'm
like
going
right
for
now.
here, right? Yeah, okay. So let's stop the clock here. According to my risk strategy, less than 5% of my overall portfolio is at risk. I'm looking ugly here, aren't I? But have I reached my stop point to give up on this trade?
Not yet.
No, it's simply a paper loss. That's all it is, right? Here we go. Do, 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 do. Well, things are looking a little better. All right, so even at the worst of it, we're sitting down on paper, right? Pretty nasty. We certainly could not have done this kind of trade on margin. And this is why I like to use the little old lady strategy, because 60 or 70.5%, this is a heck of a lot of risk, right? You can't be going and betting the farm here that these lows are going to hold. If you take more than 5% risk, let's say you put like, I don't know, 20, 30% of your portfolio in here, then you got to bail. But because we're little old lady, all we've done is put 5% of our portfolio in here. We can risk to 0. Now watch. Whoa, hello.
Whoa.
Do, 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 do. Whoa, whoa, something's going on. Do, do, do. Okay, guys, here we are. We're down just a little bit on the trade now. Should we do anything?
Not yet.
Well, just leave it. Whoa, what the hell just happened? Let's back that up just a moment. Something just happened. Wow! And this is exactly what Will was talking about a few minutes ago, right? Our profit target is up here. In fact, really, you know my strategy, guys. As soon as I can, exactly. As soon as I can sell half on a double, then bang, I'm in a free position, right? So instantly, from this point on now, it doesn't really matter what the coin does. I'm on what I like to call a free position. Let's see if we can scroll this out. There we go. Right, that one day, bang, free position. Now, what do you think I should be doing from here on out?
Now you're going to...
holding the other half of your coins, basically.
Yep.
Right, and what do you think?
Sell another half when it doubles again, et cetera, et cetera. Really? I have a question for you, Brian, though.
Yeah?
Did you, like, for example, on this trade, would you have your sell order out, I mean, this entire time?
Yeah.
Or is it something that you kind of just monitor?
Yep, this order was working, and I don't know whether Bitfinex will show us, and maybe your site will show it, but this order was working the whole darn time. And actually, when we get to later on in the story, you'll find out that I made a little boo-boo, right? I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
get greedy enough, which is ironic. So the story goes on, right? At this point now, I've got my fill. I'm on free coins, right? And there's no reason why anybody watching this video can't do exactly what I just did, right? Identified the OTE or RLZ, whatever you want to call it, and just go and put less than 5% of your portfolio, and this is like the set it and forget it strategy. Half goes out at a double, gone. Now I have to, at this point, usually what I like to do is when I see that I've gotten a fill here, instantly I'll go and throw the next order up, right?
Okay.
Frank, I have no idea if this is going to get filled anytime soon, right? So, boom! Wow, I got filled that day. You see that? And this is the kick in the pants, guys, is I didn't get greedy enough, and I
Didn't
actually
get the
didn't
next order out.
That's right. I didn't get the order out until it was like sort of right here. And so what I like to do to punish myself, because I live a life, right? I'm out with my son and I come back and I see, oh wow, I got a fill. Well, my punishment now is I have my next order sitting there working at the top, and I did this on Nautilus, same thing. And I cannot par because technically my next double was about 215, 220. I think I got filled at 220 on this. What's the hell symbol? DGB. Yeah, 220, right? So my next order, and this is the kick in the pants, and why sometimes I think that people out in the crypto world are they move prices just to bum me out and stuff. But look at this, right? Look how I should have been filled here if I
That's
had
pretty
my
spot
order
on.
working. Look at that, eh? That's
I wonder.
ridiculous.
I wonder how much volume that trade was. That.
Oh, we'd have to go and look at a 1 minute chart. Yeah, I mean, but it was fairly robust volume. Who knows
Yeah,
if it would
actually,
have
it
gotten
was.
totally filled, right? A lot of times when I work these open orders, the market will run right up to me, and they know that if they touch me, they got to fill me, and they'll back it right off. Right. So anyway, I have my next open order working, but look at the end result of this. Isn't this remarkable? I mean, basically the whole rally was just fluff. So sad. Hate when you see that happen, right?
Kind of reminds me of Ruby.
Yeah, yeah, same sort of thing. Now, I feel good because I got one double off, I got free coins. I got two doubles off, I'm up 200% on my investment, and I still got some free coins on the books, right? Kind of fat fingered it a little bit there, and as a punishment, I have this open order working there, and I won't touch this until that either gets filled or this thing goes off the board. That's sort of a bit of a punishment, self-induced punishment. Now, what do you do now, right? And of course, everybody, when you guys, write in and you want, my 2 cents on this, really what you're asking is, should I go and buy it right now, right? Me personally, I'm of the feeling that this, you see how there was a big pump here, and then they had to calm it down, right?
Mm-hmm.
My general feeling was this was the pump, and now we're in calm down mode, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how long calm down mode has to play out. I hope it isn't for a long time, but that would be sort of my general thought. And what I would say too is, aside from this trade, and that was just a blind RLZ purchase, if we actually look at price itself down here, what letter of the alphabet do you see right down here?
Pretty clear W.
Isn't that incredible?
Mm-hmm.
So if you were like a hawk just watching for W's, do you see how you could have had like the trade of the century here? You see that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, man, you would have looked like a trading god, right? I mean, this is ridiculous. How high does it go? Right? You would have just looked like a genius. I'll be perfectly honest. I was already loaded up on this thing from here, so I certainly wasn't going to add any more. And frankly, I wasn't paying attention, right? We have been sort of talking about this, and I think we talked about this W that's come in here. But everybody who's watching this video, man, just take a screenshot of this. This is what you're looking for. You really can't get any better defined than this. And you notice that the indicators, they started to turn up here, right? I mean, this is our bread and butter right here. Bang. So there you go, gang. Merry Christmas. Okay, so at present, can I even think about buying this right now? No. We are in sort of the post-rally phase. You know, we very easily could have counter-trend rallies. This is just nuts. The interesting thing is that we often say, have you guys ever heard me say, wicks and tails love to be eaten? You guys ever, or beaten, eh? Whoops. All right, so this, in my opinion, is a lot of unfinished business up here. There is unfinished business here. At some point, this market will clean itself up, and it will go and finish this business.
So do you think that market is going to retrace based on that high wick, or is it going to retrace based on the original? I mean,
where's the original? There's the original now.
Oh, wow. Oh.
And then, of course, we have to talk about what exchange you're talking about, right?
Yeah, I think I was thinking of the earlier coin.
Could be. You know, do you see how...
We weren't paying attention to the yodeling gnome whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right. Now, do you see how they left a monster wick up here? You see that?
Yeah.
And really, you could argue even this wick like here. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. This is unfinished business. There's something that caused this to go up here that, in my opinion, still hasn't been completely sort of dealt with, right? Remember we talked about what tops and bottoms look like. Really a well-defined case, and then they went up and checked this. And indeed, the people that said this was a top here, they said, no, this is a top. What are you doing? Go down. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So when you get this kind of action where it's just wicked straight up and straight down, it actually, to me, says that there's unfinished business. Gesundheit. All right, so this, like I said, is some unfinished business, but you just don't know how long it's going to take for this to clean itself up. You can see the momentum indicator, Marwilly. He's not really, often, like you said, Rob, often our buys come when our Willy is really washed out here, right? Very rarely do we ever get really good buys where Willy's up like this and he's breaking down. So unfortunately, my 2 cents here is there may be some sort of technical bounce wherever this low comes in. If we do something like that and then we look for 38.2s, which is a really good sort of keep you honest level, right? I could see some major resistance there. What's that? 200. And then, of course, if she can rally up and start eating this wick, we're probably going to see some serious resistance up in this area, right? Our reload zone. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Interesting to see. We'll see where it goes.
Okay, here's a good story about risk management. You guys know that I like to follow the little old lady approach, and if I was investing in venture cap stocks, I would do the same thing. And, as you sort of pointed out, we have almost all the colors in the rainbow here. Really, what I want to do, and the whole purpose of building this portfolio, was I want to own crypto. I've said that from day one. I want to be long crypto. I don't know who's going to be the final winner here, so I want to own everybody. And this is a fantastic example where I can go in, and if we looked at the TA, I think that you could have made a realistic argument that this was like a range market from sort of down here to up here. And really, I don't have a problem if you wanted to take a shot against these lows, right? But the key here is risk. Now, the great part about little old lady is, and this is, Cry's 2 rules of investing. These 2 rules, they're going to prevent you from becoming a millionaire tomorrow, but at the same time, they're going to always ensure that you can always come back and play the game tomorrow. Now, if you had said, Brian, I am very interested in risking against these lows, but I want to like margin trade this or really leverage trade this, if that's the case, then on a break of these lows, you got to get the frig out, right? You have no choice. And what's really interesting is that the market gave you lots of opportunity to get out at that level. This was the previous significant low. Your stop should have been just below here. You could have gotten out here on this day. In fact, the market rallied back the next day. Dipped down, look, you could have gotten out here. You could have gotten out here, you could have gotten out here, you could have gotten out here. Market really ripped lower, and yet it still gave you an opportunity to get out where you were supposed to. So if you were trading this margin-wise, you had no reason whatsoever not to get out on that failure. The good part about working a portfolio like little old lady is that really, I don't really care. I mean, I know that sounds kind of bizarre and maybe a little unprofessional, but really what I want to do is I just want to keep taking these shots. Keep taking them. Keep taking them. Because as, Rob pointed out, quite often when we do take these shots against these lows, more times than not, these lows hold and you're okay. Now, what am I doing with this position now that it's basically failed? The good part about little old lady, right, is that, we actually only put in 2.5% of our portfolio when we took our shot. Margin traders, you had better get the hell out. Here, now that basically the coin is cratered and we're basically about a quarter of our original value, this is now worth, about 0.75 of our portfolio. Really, at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal to us. If this had bottomed and it turned into 5% of our portfolio, then I would have sold the 2.5 and we would have been on quote-unquote a free position, and away we go from there. As it stands right now, this one trade is representing a pretty nasty loss. Because it's only half of my 5% rule, though, if I do start to see some really compelling W's come in here and some really compelling data on the internals, I'm actually in a position where I can add to the position. Really, as I look at it right now, I don't see a lot of reason to be looking for a bottom here. And so as a result, it's sort of just sitting on our shit list. It's underperformed. Our portfolio, I'm sorry if I swore there, I'm probably not allowed to.
Yeah,
but
you're off the show, Brian.
You call it what it is, right? And another good thing about having a few losses, I don't know whether you guys, even consider capital gains taxes or not, but if we're dealing in the stock market, clients have capital gains taxes that they have to worry about every year. So this is an example where, believe it or not, having a few losses to sell into tax loss selling season isn't such a bad thing. I mean, frankly, I don't think I'm going to sell it. I think I would actually just prefer just to actually continue to ride this story out and use it as just sort of a good example that, hey, no trader is 100% right. It just doesn't happen. The way I manage this portfolio, though, we don't have to be 100% right, and in fact, we can be 100% wrong, and on a one individual trade, that is, and that capital could literally go off the board, and really, at the end of the day, we're doing perfectly fine. I will be watching for bottoms coming in here. I think, for anybody who is long and is sort of looking for, okay, Brian, it's wonderful that you're so optimistic and, you're telling us about how you're going to handle the tax loss. Maybe let's talk about, if we do get a bottom, where's a realistic rally point? I absolutely firmly believe that this old low now is a major resistance level. So if you did buy around here and you just want to try and get your money back, I would definitely target this sort of mid-50s area. My hunch is she's probably going to rally back to there, then test whatever lows are being put in now, and then if we break out through there, then we'll know we're back in business. And I see this happen a lot, where my first nibble is actually kind of high, then a bottom comes in, and the first nibble and the buy signal level often correspond nicely. I'm not saying that's going to happen. Who knows what the hell's going to happen here? The point of the matter is that our original thesis of buying against these lows has failed. This is a failed trade. And because I run an extremely low risk strategy when investing in these names, I'm not even really too worried about the fact that it did fail. All right, so that's sort of, I really wanted to talk about Burst because I really think it's an excellent anecdote on risk management.
And that's what you're all about. I mean, it's a good example because I know people are probably like, well, does Brian ever lose? All we do is look at these coins that go up parabolically. Well, here's a perfect example of,
one that just
spreading yourself thin so you don't get impacted so deeply when it happens.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue that we sort of went through the exact same thing on Digi. The cool thing about Digi and the reason why I think it rallied so hard is that these previous lows did hold, right? Whereas Burst, the previous lows have not held. So structurally, this coin's in a bit of trouble. It'd be interesting to see what the story is. What happened here to cause this structural failure here? Honestly, it looks to me like somebody got out. But that's the way it goes. Can't win them all, right? Okay, moving right along. Who do we got next? Now, this was an interesting one, this SJCX. Do we have any sort of story on this? I remember.
Yeah, that's Storage Coin X. That's the one where I mistakenly said they were, offering their stuff in terms of a pre-sale, but the pre-sale had ended a long time prior.
Okay.
But yeah, Storage is actually a really decent coin. They do it's like decentralized data storage, basically. So
you're not going to like what I'm going to say then. Sorry.
Well, the technology itself is good.
Okay.
In my opinion, I'm into the tech side of things. So.
Oh, that's totally cool. Totally cool. I guess when I look at this chart, I'm a little disappointed. I mean, a la Rob. Can you see that if we zoom in just this area here is that same sort of picture that we keep seeing over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Rally, pullback, market structure, away we go. I mean, it's incredible how consistent this is, eh?
Yeah.
And really, to all intents and purposes, I kind of see the same thing that's happening now. So, big rally. Pull back into acceptable zone. What we now need to see is the structure. And it looks to me like they've set the table here a couple times for this coin. That it was basically ready to go. It was ready to go right in here off of this little rally if they just pulled it back and then turned it. And then it was, in my opinion, ready to go. You can see that they broke it back down to this original trend line, then rallied it right back into the apex of these trend lines, and then backed it off. And then again, basically, and they had set volume and momentum. Everything said that this thing was ready to go. And just nothing happened. Are these guys actually doing anything right now? Like development-wise?
I'm not sure. I'm not up to date on it, but I know, last time that we mentioned it, I think Alex Sturck actually too was giving us a lowdown on what they have going on, and they have a lot of different projects going on. So.
All right. Well, hopefully they'll start. You can see that they broke her back above this original downtrend line, which is good, right? But you can see when they broke her above here, boom, they brought it right back to the trend line, right? And that's what I sort of see that's happened here. I really would, and if we look at it, closely, we can see that really, to all intents and purposes, this thing's sort of stuck in a trading range here. There's the bottom, and there's the top. Remember when we said wicks and tails love to be eaten? Look at what they did on this one bar. Whoosh! All the way down into there, and then right back. You see how they did that?
Mm-hmm.
This, it needs to get back up here. If we can get back up here and actually start closing up here, then we actually start getting some market structure that can support the bullish case.
Yeah, kind of a double bottom there.
But look at the internals, right? There's just nobody coming to the defense of this thing. And it's very disappointing because, like I said, it looked to me like basically this thing was ready to go. And if it had a story and if it had some reason for people to buy, I think this thing would have taken off. But just nobody showed up. Nobody came to the party. Kind of sucks. So that's kind of why I said she was right there, but then nothing came through. And you need to understand that momentum-wise, this momentum window here, right? Can you see how it put in a little double bottom here? I know it's kind of tough to see. Can you see this? It went down, up, down, breakout. You see that?
Yep.
This, and do you see the little W in Willie right here?
It's a little one, but I see it.
It's just little, and then you could argue there's a bigger one. Down, up, down, breakout, right? Everything said at this point, you are ready to go. You have the green light, but no buyers showed up. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was interested in buying.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting too. I mean, the volume kind of shot up there for that period.
Yeah, well,
price stayed.
So it's really interesting. My hunch here is that they were working on something, and I think that it didn't work.
Okay, I'm not entirely sure on that, but
no, neither am I. This is just pure conjecture, right?
Mm-hmm.
It looks to me like the market caught wind of them doing something and was getting jazzed, and whatever it was, it just fell apart. So the point of the matter here is we do have trade location, but you can see this little W? See how they ramped it up? You could have gotten a nice profit on that little W there, right? That was a pretty nice little rally. Then we tried to do this, but I think with these monster wicks and tails, we're just sort of stuck in this trading range, and this is what worries me. When I go over to, and you notice I did this on Polo, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I do this on Bittrex, look at what the chart looks like. Of course, we got that crazy nonsense.
Yeah.
But look at this, right? Let's see if I can do this here for you.
I think you can lock it on the...
Hold on. Go like that, and then we'll go. Oh, it's going to take a minute. Hold on a second. It's good old yodeling, dude. Okay. Look at the price action on Bittrex. Does that really fill you with a lot of confidence?
Not really. Kind of interesting too that previous high didn't hit on Bittrex either. Where it kind of went medium sky high on Poloniex. It looks like maybe back in like May.
Yeah. So that's why I started out with the Polo chart, because I was like, well, and it looks like there's a bit more history on Polo, right? And then I looked at the Bittrex and I went, wow, what the heck is this? It's like literally the floor was taken out. Remember, we've talked about FU moves on these exchanges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ironically enough, usually we see these FU moves on things like Polo and Gripsy and stuff, but we don't see them on Bittrex. Is Bittrex about to delist these guys? I don't know. But the long and short of it here, this does not fill me with confidence. Something's not right here. And of
Yeah.
course, when we say tails and wicks like to be eaten, well, ugh, what are these lows? This low is all the way down to 1,000. Let's go back to Polo and see where that corresponds. And we see that 1,000 is, oh, gee whiz, that's right back down into the original bottom here.
Oh, okay.
You see that?
Yep.
1,000 actually takes us right down to this low down here, right? That's 1,089. So that's a bit bothersome. Something's not right here. And like I said, momentum is pointing down, volume is pointing down. So while, yes, we are in a half-decent trade location, man, this thing's got to clean itself up and in a hurry or there's going to be trouble. Sucks. For our level 1ers, we just did fibs, like I told you. And I think you can draw some extension targets off of this range here, like I said. If we lose this range, then these are the extension targets that come into play for me. And look at this 200%. That's 33 ticks. Right? We're up at 6,000 ticks right now.
Yikes.
This could get ugly. So be careful out there, people. If you are long, well, figure out what percentage of your portfolio is. If you didn't manage yourself very well, well, you're just going to have to learn from this lesson. If you're thinking about buying, I might want to cool my jets until I see these internals start to turn around. And, we start to see some actual W's come in here. Let's, whoever's promoting this coin, if you're watching this show, get this thing to stop making lower lows here, right? And get it to start turning back up through here. And then we can start talking bullishly again. Okay, so that's that bad boy. Sorry for the bad news there. I hope it's not interpreted badly. It's just sort of my 2 cents.
Your 2 Satoshis.
That's right. Current bid 0.00000001 on the pink sheets. All right. Were we going to do Geo? I didn't think we were going to do. Oh, you know what we want to leave off on tonight? Somebody asked that we take a look at the pod coins. I thought, I've been slowly accumulating positions back. Anybody who's watching this show for the first time, you can go look back through my Twitter feed, and of course, if you're a site member, you can look through all the write-ups and stuff. But we basically bought this double bottom here, and of course, Rob will be more than happy to attest that, gee whiz, you can see that this was basically a reload zone off of this range, right? Right, Rob?
Absolutely.
Not really anything new. We're not reinventing the wheel. We are just simply rinse and repeat. We figure out something that works, and we just keep doing it over and over again. So you can see we came down into reload zone. We put in nice market structure, a nice W, and away we go. This isn't rocket science. That's the irony of all of this. It's not rocket science. Each and every one of you can do this, right? So, boom, 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 selling halves on the double, big wicked party. What do you think stopped this rally up here? Anybody remember?
The high wore off?
We ran out of pot, man. The bong ran out of bud. No. Something happened here that literally brought this rally to a grinding halt.
What date is it? It wasn't around 420, was it?
Well, the answer is the Florida
that's right. I remember you mentioning that.
Referendum. Probably spelled that wrong. All right. Florida came out with a big fat no, and boom, down came the pot coins. And you got to understand that it doesn't really matter which pot coin you look at, you can see there was a major cycle shift here, and they all just sort of went into retreat. The interesting thing about this coin was, you didn't have to see these insane highs. That's no pun intended. But hopefully you guys can see the W here. Down, up, down, breakout.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? So you could have played this rally, and you could have easily got some free coins off of this rally. No, it wasn't. I know lots of people on the site did. I was kind of kicking myself that I didn't take this trade, but I was sort of just still giddy about my first trade. And you know, I'm not gonna. I still have the free coins, ironically enough, still on the books from all this trade.
Your high didn't wear off yet, Brian?
No way, man, never. So the point is that I will always be long a little bit of this coin, right? Always. There will always be a little bit on my books, unless, of course, it goes to zero. So the message that I wanted to try and just sort of convey today was that we just had a little political event happen that's marijuana related. Does anybody know what that is?
I think you mentioned it before the show, but it's the Canadian elections, right?
That's right. So the guy that was running for the Red Party here in Canada, he basically has been promoting the idea that if he was elected Prime Minister, he was going to legalize marijuana. So I thought it was really interesting how you can see the knee-jerk reaction of that event. Bang! This little thing popped up. And if I'm not mistaken, I think most of them have got half-decent little bottoms sort of working now. Oh, look at this one popped up and sort of gave it almost all of it back, breaking the new lows. So, you know, maybe this wasn't the catalyst for pot. I think the can got a little bit of a bid. Maybe pot needs to still work his way a bit lower. I don't know. Let's see. Ooh, pot's in a and I remember pot. Look at these crazy tails here, right? So that sure looks to me like market's trying to clean all that up. I'm a bit surprised that they broke this low here, but you can see volume really isn't pouring out of here, so it will be interesting to watch how this acts against these lows. One coin that I did. Oh, okay. So let's finish off the can story. I don't think I'm necessarily coming to you today and saying that the marijuana coins have officially turned, but what I am saying is I can understand now, you know, number one, look how they backed can right up against these original lows. You see that? There's that low there, and look how they backed it up right against there, right?
Yep.
This is the ultimate tails and wicks need to be eaten. This thing wasn't going to turn until this little tail right here, and it's not very big, but you can see it. Oh, silly chart. Right? You can see it right there, right? And basically the market came down, ate it, and turned. I don't know whether this is the low, but it really would make sense to me now that we have a little bit of a political backing that the marijuana stories could actually gain a little bit of traction if Canada goes and legalizes marijuana right across the board. Like I said, I've already got my free position on can. If I was going to add to this, are we on the right exchange here? Oh, yeah.
That's right.
I don't really mind taking nibbles off of these lows in here. I don't really mind. But the one that, you know, like I sort of did a need it, got it, need it. I don't know. Did you guys ever do baseball cards or hockey cards when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah.
And you go through, your neighbor's pack, and it's like got it, need it, need it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had one recently that I was sort of on the, the got it, need it list. And this is a fantastic analogy of what we do. So hopefully you guys can see how, and actually I think I even wrote this out, didn't I? Yeah. Where, here's the clean chart. Where'd the clean chart go? Right? All right, wow, this is the chart, Brian. This is the price action, right? Then I actually broke it down for you guys. And, site members, I produced this, in our members page here. Here's that bottom that we just saw on the other chart, right? Oh, no, where'd it go? There it is right here, right? This is that bottom, down, up, down, breakout, right? Where'd it go? There it is. Down, up, down. Now, you notice that inside of this, there's our reload zone right in there, right? See that? Mm-hmm. And look at the market structure through this area. And we could actually argue from this high back to this low, look at the market structure, how it painted a reload zone down in here. The market went shooting up. And a month or so ago, that's when I did the need it, got it, And so that's what sort of came to our attention is I just simply went out and asked the internet, give me some names to look at. And somebody's like, wow, check out dope. It's dope, man. Oh, I'm so that's such an old man, eh? That sounded terrible. Anyway, I identified my buying zone. Step 2, right? Overlapping RLZs suggested an area of interest. So at step 2, I did my analysis and came up with the level that I wanted to buy at. Step 3, I patiently waited. And you got to understand in this game, if you want to make money, sometimes you have to be so patient and just wait for your level. Waited, boom. Got filled. And look how I got filled here. The market went straight down to my level, filled me, and stopped on a dime. And then the next day, jackknifed out of there. Isn't that incredible? I love when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are at step 4. I'm basically managing my position. Here is my double level. If the market can work its way back up here, great. I get free coins, and really, I don't even have to think about stressing about this anymore. I'm just, I've employed little old lady, so I don't have to worry about, the downside risks so much. But if I was margin trading or leveraged like Joe's six-pack, then I would simply risk against these lows. And if dope can't hold these lows, then basically it means there's a major problem in this coin, right? The lows are like 15, 14, 17, right? Basically it means this thing's going off the board. So really, I don't mind being long from 36 and just taking a shot on this thing. The downside risk, in my opinion, is relatively limited. And like we said, if we get some sort of political love affair, look at these wicks all the way up top here. Look at this is all wicky up here, right?
That's got some serious retracement written all over it.
Right, even the candle bodies, right? We can see 316. Is it realistic for me to see 75 ticks here? We've got bullish market structure, we've got RLZs. I like it, so I went and bought it. There's another example of something that I bought recently for you. Okay, so I think that's basically my input for tonight. I hope I haven't overstayed my welcome. I never know how long I talk on these things. Did I go over?
Perfect.
No, this is pretty good.
Okay, I hope the audience... sorry, okay, go ahead. I'll stop talking.
No, I was just saying that you're spot on with the time. Hour and 20 minutes, I think, is pretty much what we go for. So.
Okay. How do we feel? Do we feel pretty optimistic?
Feeling great.
Good, good.
Feeling good.
All right. So, I don't know. I'll leave basically the rest up to you. I suppose we ought to give a spiel for the old site. Julian and Sjord are working like dogs getting the new site up and running. Here's our old site. Works pretty well. I have noticed that a lot of people, and when I say a lot, I'm actually quite pleasantly pleased by this, but a lot of people have been trying to sign up for the site, and unfortunately, until we get the new site up and running, we've actually suspended new memberships. So just be patient. We're not going anywhere. I've been doing this for 25 years. I'm not going anywhere. This is my life. This is my love. And we've got so many cool things in the works. And by all means, we have the current term just started their week after Labor Day, so they're about halfway through their term right now. New students, every single class, somebody's always saying, man, that's incredible. I never realized that before. Or, wow, that is the coolest tool. I'm going to be using that every day now. I love the karma. I love the feedback. PMA, guys, I'm all about PMA. So as a result, I'm super, super stoked at the positive, friendly group that we work together with. It's really, it's a real joy to wake up in the morning and converse with my gang. And if you are looking for that type of environment out on the internet where you're not going to be criticized, where you're going to be embraced, where you're going to ask questions, you're going to get honest answers, then hey, that's what we're all about. Right?
And that is very hard to come by
It
in
is.
today's day and age.
It is. It is. It
I
so
mean,
is.
chat rooms are vicious, Twitter's vicious, so being able to be in an open, friendly atmosphere is amazing, and be able to just, say what you want without fear of retribution or somebody jumping down your throat is awesome.
Yep. In fact, here's the problem with this. And did you guys see the tweet that Gambler put out about Twitter arguments? Did you guys see that?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, it's a bit X-rated, so I don't think I'm allowed to put it on my screen.
We don't have any ratings, so I mean.
Okay, all right, I'll go find it. But I think it summarizes the juvenile, almost bully mentality of what altcoins is kind of turned into in a weird sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really kind of saddened by it. But the problem is that might be a very small fraction of the community that acts this way.
Right. It's the active Twitter users, really, and that might be 5% of the market, or even 1% of the market, really.
Yeah, and the problem is that there are a lot of really nice people out there in the world that, if a bully like this comes along, they, if they're like learning or wanting to learn how to trade, then it does not help them at all. And I would actually argue this. Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's let them load up here. You can kind of see where this is going.
I think it's something swinging, is my guess.
Oh, is it not going to load? It's a GIF, so it should load. Maybe I'm just using too much computer power. But anyway, I
get the idea, though. It's not lost on.
Yeah, if you want to, I'm not quite. Because it says, isn't that interesting? My Google Chrome is not happy. Did it just crash?
I don't know what's up with that.
No, the screen's still on there. Did I load a different one? Oh yeah, look at that. Twitter just crashed. Huh, okay, well let's try that again. This is so important, and I'm sorry if I'm taking up too much time here, but I think this is so important to get the message out here. Like really, anybody who's watching this, follow me, retweet this, because really, I think this summarizes the whole Twitter experience. There he is, right?
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
And the problem we have to understand is that there are a lot of juvenile males that are involved in this space, right? And this kind of bravado is basically the hallmark of adolescent males, isn't it? Right? Mm-hmm. And, this kind of bravado does not help people learn how to trade. And what I've seen is I've had some students of mine join other people's websites, no names mentioned, and they actually have gotten into screaming matches with the runners of these websites in their chat rooms. I mean, talk about negative karma. That should not happen in the market, right? There is no ego about this. This is us all working together to make money, and really at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is our own account balance. Nothing else matters. And so, the simple message that I would have is, and thank you for reaffirming that, guys, is that if you're watching this show and you're like, for God's sakes, I just need a safe place where I'm not going to get my head taken off and where I can ask questions and I can learn. Basically, the rational investor is that type of environment.
Right on. Good stuff. Well, on that note, I think we should get to signing off here. Once again, thanks everybody for joining us. Make sure to check out, as Brian mentioned, therationalinvestor.co and check out Coinigy.com if you like what you see during these podcasts. Rob and I are working hard on it day and night. It's a labor of love for us. So,
30-day free trial.
It's an awesome site too.
30-day free trial. It's about $19 a month. Well worth it in our opinion. So you can track all your balances. You can trade on all the exchanges, and yeah, great community there and everything. So don't forget also to like and subscribe to the video. It helps us out a lot. So cool. I guess we can sign off on that note.
All right. Love you, babe. Thanks so much for having me on your show. I absolutely love working with you guys.
Hey, we love having you, Brian.
Thanks again, everybody.
Until next time, happy trails.
Bye.